What's up guys, it's Mr. here back for some Magic the Gathering content, and today we are talking about the last revealed Praetor, which I'm really excited about because I think this one is my favorite. So URABRASK is 2 Vinny color and 2 red for a 4/4 legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor with first strike, and whenever you cast an instance or sorcery spell, URABRASK deals 1 damage to target opponent, add 1 red mana, and then you pay 1 red, exile URABRASK, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery and only if you cast 3 or more instance and or sorcery spells this turn. Now, the flip side, the first chapter is the Great Work deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control. Chapter 2, create 3 treasure tokens. Chapter 3, until end of turn you may cast instance and sorcery spells from any graveyard. If a spell cast this way would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Exile the Great Work, then return it to the battlefield. So the first strike is actually pretty good on this because in the deck you'd be running this in, you'll have a lot of direct damage. So let's say there was a 7/7. You attack with this, they block, you shoot it for 3, and then the first strike hits, and then you kill that without losing URABRASK. The 4/4 stat line is not bad. It means it doesn't die to lightning strike, it doesn't die to strangle, it doesn't die to cut down. So there seems to be a mid-range base damage dealing theme because it works really well with Sophilim. The problem with Sophilim and URABRASK is that they're both 4 mana, so you can't curve into each other, but it can still be really powerful, either doubling your damage or getting a mana every single time. So let's say you're in Magical Christmas Land. You go turn 4, you either play URABRASK or Sophilim. Then turn 5, you play the one that you haven't played. You have 1 mana open. You play 3 1 mana spells into each other. So play with fire, end the festivities, strangle. There's a lot of 1-drops. And Sophilim on themselves will deal 6 damage. And then if you're having play with fires, you'll deal way more because it's also double the Sophilim. And then now you cast 3 spells and you still have 1 floating. So you flip this into the Great Work, and then chapter 1 triggers, and that will also be doubled by Sophilim. So you'll deal 6 damage to their face and 6 damage to each creature they control. That is an insane amount of burst. If you had 3 play with fires, that's a total of 24 damage. It's pretty crazy, a one-shot anyone. Of course, this is not going to happen often. You need a perfect hand, you need to survive, you need 5 specific cards for it to work. But I think it's just hilarious. It'd be a really fun time. Another good mid-range card for the deck I'm talking about would be Mechanized Warfare, because it would deal 2 damage to your opponent every time your URABRASK triggers and would pump up all your other removal spells. Another card I think would be really good with him is Reckless Impulse, because Reckless Impulse gives you 2 more cards to play. So it's a lot more likely that you can get to the 3 spells that you need to flip URABRASK. I really do enjoy how the dealing 1 damage to an opponent and adding the red really goes well with the transform ability, because if you're making more mana you can cast more spells, meaning it's a lot easier to get to that point. And unlike all the other Praetor, it's not a crazy amount of mana to flip him. So if you try to flip him and they kill him in response, you won't feel as bad as paying 8 mana for the green Praetor. So I think that's really cool. Now let's say you flip him, it's a direct 3 damage to face. Sometimes you might need that to just end the game. It could also wipe your opponent's board, which could be really important against aggressive matchups. Because the best thing about it, it doesn't hit your board, it only hits your opponent's board. Now the second chapter is just good mana, which will be really important to have for the next chapter where you can just go crazy. My favorite part of the text in the chapter 3 is that you can cast instants and sorceries from your opponent's graveyard also. I think that's hilarious. And the treasures will really help you because they'll be able to tap for any color, so you can make sure you can use your opponent's graveyard if they're playing a different color. I think that's so funny. But the best part of this is that once chapter 3 hits, you get URABRASK back. So his second ability to deal 1 damage and make 1 mana is going to be so handy because you will be able to cast so many spells and deal so much burst. And then at the end, after you cast all that burst, it's so easy to just flip him again and maybe deal the last 3 damage you need or wipe wipe your opponent's board and start the whole thing all over again. So I think this card is actually awesome. I do have two problems with it though. First of all, if you play this and then you have nothing in hand, it does very little. You need to have a bunch of cards for this card to be good, so maybe you'll be good pairing with blue. And my second problem is, let's say you play this on turn 4, it doesn't do anything immediately, so if they remove it, you're just sad. You got no value from it. They used a 2-mana removal spell and it's dead. I am really hoping it sees play because I think it could be really powerful. It would be really interesting to see a mono red burn deck that is mid-range instead of always being aggressive with 1-drops and 2-drops. Instead waiting, keeping a big hand, waiting to play the URABRASK and then just storming off and dealing a ton of damage to opponent base. I think that would be such a nice change for mono red. So I really hope this card makes it. So that's all I had to say about standard. But in commander, not bad. It goes, if you have a deck that wants to play a bunch of spells, this card is an auto include. I feel like they geared this card more to standard because for each ability that URABRASK has, it's target opponent. It's not every opponent. So it won't be as strong as a card like Shieldred was, but it's still a really good engine that gives you some burst, it gives you mana, it gives you a board wipe, and a Past in Flames at the end, which could be really important. Getting to that Past in Flames in a deck that wants to storm off is one of the strongest things you can do. So yeah, awesome card. That is all I wanted to say about this absolute beautiful card. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is a new channel. It really needs it. Please tell me what cards you want me to review, and if you have any tips for me, because I'm very new at this YouTube thing, so I'd love to know if you guys want me to read the cards, if you guys want me to not read the cards. Anyways, have a good one.